Hello, I am Pam, and this is my channel, Made by Pam. So, today is Friday, so that means another episode of Friday Sews. And today is the day after Thanksgiving. So it is November 26, 2021. And my little boy was born on the 26th. So he just turned 5 years old. So exciting. I asked him this morning, so how old are you today? He's like, I'm 4. I'm like, no, you're 5. Today's your birthday. He's like, oh, I'm 5? And then I asked him again, and I asked him later, I'm like, so how old are you? He's like, I'm 5. Today's my birthday. So yes, it's his birthday. So what have I sewn this week? So I had 2 patterns to choose from. I had this pattern, McCall 7551, and it's view C. Or I had this pattern, McCall's 2792, and this one is from year 2000, and I did view A, and this pattern is from 1995. So they're not necessarily patterns that you're going to be able to find, unless you go on eBay or Etsy or something, you might be able to find them. So they are older patterns. I found mine from a thrift store. Alright, so I chose to do this pattern. And I liked that pattern. So I did get it made up. I did work on it. And the fabric I chose to use was my blue snowman fabric that I had shown last week. And here is the pants. And of course I put the elastic in the legs. And then it has the pockets here. And I always like to add a pocket on the top. And then as a little bonus, I add an inseam pocket. And then this side is where the buttons are. So I got the buttons. So I did this. Now, this fabric was a little bit difficult to work with. This is a piece that I cut out, and then I decided I wanted to use a liner piece. So you put it together, and you see how slippery that is? It's just like super slick. So you can imagine the trouble that would cause trying to sew that together. Now this other way, not a problem. You can't rub that flannel together. But the smooth sides, so sewing those sides together. So I did do one seam where I just pinned and used wonder clips to clip them together. And man, that was a pain in the butt. I don't know. Well, I did do the straps too, like that. And then one side, I think it was the side with the pocket, I did sew that seam down, and it was a pain. So how I got around that is I use some double-sided tape. Now this is just stuff that I got from the dollar store, just a roll of double-sided tape. So it's not like this sewing tape that you can attach to something and not have it mess up your needle, because this stuff does. But I didn't mind using it on the edges, because once you used it, and the seams are 5/8 inch seam allowance, and this is like 3/8. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah, about 3/8. So it had a little bit of give, you know. So I would just put it right on the very edge of the fabric. You know, just very edge. And I would tape those edges together just to give some stability. And so I am going to need to get some more of this because it's almost gone because I used a lot of it. But I did get the pants done. So the buttons that I used for this project, I know I had them sitting out. Oh, they're right here. Silly me. Okay. I have these cute little buttons. Now these buttons here I used for the pocket. And then these buttons here I use on the bib for the strap. And then I have this button here. There's a packet of 6 on there, and I only needed 5, and I just used it on the side. But yeah, so that is done. And then the lining I used is this blue lining. And that lining I got from Walmart a couple weeks ago. It's one of those fabrics I got, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I really like it, so I'm going to get it. Yeah. So I decided that I wanted to use it for this. So I used it as a lining in all these pockets. Now these pockets don't call for linings. You just basically fold them in and just have it, you know. But I kind of like that extra pop of contrast color, you know. Just something different because I'm different. And it's my style, obviously. Alright. And then on the pocket, I did also do that lining. But for the little extension pieces for the buttons, I just used the regular fabric. So that is done. Alright, so that one's done. Next thing I worked on is actually a mask. I made a mask for my daughter. So I made her this cute little mask, and then the other lining. So that one's my daughter's. This one's mine. And then my little adjusters for the elastics. Now these adjusters are just perler beads. So they're just like the iron beads. And then on all of mine, like on my kids, they don't necessarily like the wires, but on mine I do. So I do add the wire. And that just gives me nice coverage. So that'll be fun to wear with my overalls. Now also what I did, I just barely finished this. Like I worked on it today. The other things I finished yesterday, I've been working on them all week. Well, I guess not all week. I worked on something else too, but it's not done yet. But I did decide to work on a hat. So I chose to do View E. I like it. It doesn't quite lay like hers. I guess there's not enough stiffness. I did use it interfacing, but I might have needed to use something different. But here is the hat. And then the inside has that same lining. So it kind of lays like the picture. And then I could just flip it up like that too. Kind of like how the other ones are. And then I can wear my mask. And then I can wear my overalls. But yeah, so I got those done. And then also this week I worked on this kind of like a little scrap quilt. Because Christmas is coming up. And I decided this year that I kind of wanted to do a blanket for our Christmas, you know, party gift exchange thing. Still gotta figure out what all the kids are taking. But one of the things I wanted to do is just like a little scrap blanket. So I have it started. Kind of see, like I work on one section and then I move on to the next. And so I still need to add a section to this and a section to that right there. But you know, I ran out of fabric of this kind, so I've got more fabric, nothing to worry about. I've got so much fabric. I just run out of what I had trimmed up at the moment. And then I was like, yeah, I need to do something else for a minute. So I put this aside again so I could work on the other projects. And then what do I plan on getting done this next week? Well, okay. So I do want to kind of make a shirt to kind of go with this. It won't be one that I wear with it all the time, but one that just kind of, you know, is fun. So I did go to Walmart. Yeah, I went to Walmart. Well, the reason why I went to Walmart is because I needed to get some laundry soap. And so while I went in there, I went by their fabric section. Yeah. And so I had to get some fabric. Had to see what fabrics they had. And they had a couple rolls that I really liked. So I got this like velvet fabric. And this was a 2-for-4 fabric. It's almost like an orange, almost. And it's not stretchy at all. It's a thinner weight. There's 2 yards. I got that one because I saw it and I'm like, yeah, I like that one. It has to come home with me. Okay. And then this other fabric, it's like a ribbed. It's really pretty. I really like it. Kind of has like a sheen to it. It's probably 100% polyester. And it's got these different stripes. So it's stretchy this way. And stretchy this way. And this one, let me see. It was 3 yards for $8. So I got 3 yards of this for $8. But I really like this. Don't ask me why, I just do. So yeah, I think this fabric is fabulous. Right, and then the third piece of fabric I got while I was there is I saw this blue fabric with these various, like, kind of like lacy stripes type thing. Now, I didn't quite think it was like this thin. It is like way super duper thin. So a lot thinner than I anticipated. So I am definitely going to have to get another fabric to put behind it, because it is just way too thin. But I did like the fabric initially. It didn't look like it was so thin when I was looking at it at the store, but I guess the lights at Walmart aren't quite as good as mine here because I have super light. So I do plan on getting that done. And I was talking to my sister, I'm like, oh, maybe I could put these two together, like wear them together. And she's like, no, that just doesn't quite work. I'm like, why not? I could pull it off. She's like, true, you could pull it off. She's like, I wouldn't necessarily put them together, but yeah, you do you. So I'll think about that. All right. And then I also did go to the thrift store on Tuesday. Yeah. Where else do I like to go but the thrift store? So I did go to the thrift store because I just had to look and see what was new. Okay, so I found some fabulous denim. Ta-da! See, isn't that fabulous? Now, I think there's probably about 2.5 yards. 1, 2, yeah, like 2.5 yards of denim. Pretty good denim. They had it marked for $6.99. Yeah. And then it is wider. So it does have a good width on it. And they just barely put it out. Like, just that day. Probably that morning. But I'm sure it had not been sitting there very long. I don't know. I just know I saw it sitting there, looked at the price, and said, yes, please. In my basket you go. And then there is another, like, purple one. This one here. That I also decided to get. If there was enough of this one, I would probably make a pair of overalls also. Just because, you know, I like stripes. Oh, and this one was hilarious, okay? I saw this one and I just kind of had to laugh. A quilt shop say, someone call 1-800-GET-HELP. I can't. My hands are full. And then this other one, cutting instructions, cut 480, yeah, 400 pink squares. So 480 pink squares, 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Cut 480 red squares, 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Cut 720 teal pieces and 720 brown pieces. Oh my. Well, there's like instructions. And this other things. Yeah, I just thought it was cute. And then I saw this cute little, it's like a little Beauty and the Beast, like yard cut. And you can usually get it at Walmart for like $5 or something. Or is it $6.44 a yard? I don't know. I know it's not the cheapest because it's Disney. And I found it in the bag with the stuff for cheaper. And I'm like, you know, I look at that print when I go and I think about it and then I just don't get it. Well, I saw it and so I'm like, okay. And then bonus, it came with some needles. So some Smith's jean needles. So that was good too. And I just have a couple bags with some quilting squares in them because I'm going to use them for my scrap quilt. Okay, I know I should be using the scraps that I have like loaded up in bags and stuff. But sometimes isn't it just so much fun like opening up a bag that you just get and getting the little pre-cut pieces and sewing them all together, and then you don't have to cut them out yourself. Why not? Yeah, it's so much fun. And then yesterday was Thanksgiving, and so we went over to the grandparents and had Thanksgiving dinner. Well, so my husband's parents, the kids' grandparents. We went over there and they played with their cousins because my husband's sister lives there, and then his brothers were there and his other brother and his wife were there. And so my kids were able to play with their cousins and see their aunts and uncles. You know, not every time you get to see them. So it was good that, because some of us, the aunt and uncle live in California. The other one lives in, like, past Salt Lake. And so it's good to be able to see family when they come down. Alright. Well, I think I have talked long enough. Thank you guys all so much for joining me. I do enjoy going and watching all the other Friday Sew videos and the many other videos during the week. I like watching them all. Alright, well, thank you so much. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Stay creative. Bye now. I think I have my buttons lined up just a little bit off. So I might need to, like, redo those buttons. But I'll worry about that later.